Es ist mal wieder an der Zeit, einer interessanten Person Fragen zu stellen. Ich bin auf dem Weg zu Blue Marlin Dive in Kuta Lombok. Da arbeitet mein guter Freund Shannon. Den kenne ich noch aus dem Komodo Nationalpark. Der war da ein neuer Instructor, als ich meinen Dive Master fertig gemacht habe. Und der erlebt hier einiges. Und ich hoffe, er hat ein bisschen was Interessantes zu erzählen. All right, Shannon, I already spoke a little bit of an introduction in the camera before. I can tell you're officially an interesting person because I'm always just speaking in this format with people where I think they have like a cool story or a cool mission to share. We know each other from Komodo, but before like going into detail, maybe you want to introduce yourself just quickly, a few words like who you actually are.
Well, I'm born and raised in Zimbabwe. I lived there till I was 17. And fortunately, my dad is English, so I had a British passport, which gave me a ticket to England. I lived in England for 12 years. During that time, I was managing a bicycle shop, world's oldest bicycle shop. Yeah, after coming up to my 30th birthday party, I decided I needed a new adventure, or I needed to see something while I was still young. So I thought I'd go traveling around the world for 3 years, and a couple of my friends were dive masters, and they said, oh, you should go do your dive masters in Thailand, and then you can earn money around the world as a dive master, which I now know is...
it's a hard mission.
It's a hard mission, yeah. So yeah, 3 months in Thailand turned into 2.5 years. And then after Thailand, I landed a job at Blue Marlin Komodo, and that really changed me as a diver. Introduced me to pelagics, but also the small stuff. And yeah, that's where I met you, doing your finishing your dive masters.
Yeah. All right. So then you said like you're from Africa, and why did you stay in Indonesia? Like, what's special about this?
The diving is amazing. The coral reefs are really alive and really colorful, and I suppose me being here and being part of the management team with Marie to open up the newest Blue Marlin was attractive back in 2019, and still is, and the journey to where we are now is it's not over. We're still exploring new dive sites. Found a new dive site a couple of weeks back, and yeah, and the diving's amazing. The town itself is cute. It's got all the kind of food that you would ever need. Delicious food.
I can tell.
Yeah, and the ocean is on our doorstep. And I've been part of the ocean now for 8 years, full time, and I don't think I can be without it.
Yeah. And what's like special for you in general about Lombok? Because yeah, I mean, there have been some dive centers before, but you were the first one diving the east side of Lombok, right? And so basically, in the beginning, it was all exploration diving.
Yeah. Traditionally, a few dive shops have made it over to East Lombok, but the dive shops that were in Kuta Lombok, it's seasonal diving. If you're diving the south coast of Lombok, it's big Indian Ocean. During the dry season, which is the high season when you have most of the customers, you've got big swell. The southeast trade winds are really strong. It's aggressive. It's the high season for the hammerheads though. Mm-hmm. And yeah, you probably heard some horror stories of diving at that time of the year. So a lot of dive shops only can dive quite easily off the banks of Kuta during the wet season. But then also Kuta's quite a wet climate in the wet season. So when we went east, all the way east, we found that the weather is more arid. It's not as jungly as Kuta is, and yeah, we get some current. And I love current, and the corals love current, and the fish love current.
Lots of nutrients in the water with current.
Yeah, exactly. We get lots of upwelling of that cold Indian Ocean, which the corals love and the fish love.
And you get some weird surprises once in a while, right? You had some mola and stuff?
Yeah, mola. We've seen whale sharks a couple times, and more recently, lots of pelagic thresher sharks, which is
Really
cool. On average, we were seeing them 2-3 times a month.
All right, so now we're talking about like the pleasant sides of diving and scuba diving, but I know like you're freediving as well and spearfishing, and I know the story already, but maybe like you wanna, I don't know, like share a little bit about like your, I guess, most intense moment underwater you ever had.
Yeah, so I'm an uncertified freediver. I haven't ever done the training, but as a scuba instructor, I am aware of the dangers and what is required of me to hold my breath and go under the water. But during lockdown, we had to find ways to keep ourselves occupied with all the uncertainty of the future. So I became a 100-hour YouTube certified freedive spearfisher. And yeah, I had a lot of fun watching the videos, and finally when it was time that our boats were open and lockdown was easing up, we were then able to go back to East Lombok. And then I was able to point a sharp stick at the fish and start bringing home some dinner. And I loved it. I actually didn't scuba dive for about 6 months. Each time the boat went out, I was just spearfishing. Even led some spearfishing charters, had a few days, and it was bringing in money, which was helping everyone. Because
here then only the expats were here, and they're not fun diving, I guess. Or
yeah. And spearfishing is it's cheap. It's cheaper than scuba diving. Yeah. One day I had a shallow-water-blackout. It was mostly my fault. I wasn't reading my body. The water was cold. I was cold.
Cold here is then like 24, 23?
Yeah, it was 24, 25 degrees. I was in my wetsuit, but I was, now that I know, but you know, I was blind to reading my signs.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking for the symptoms, blue lips. I was hypoxic. It was already 3.5 hours into the spearfishing session.
Oh yeah.
Quite dehydrated. It was the 3rd day spearfishing in a row. And on the last dive, well, just before I did the dive, my buddy was like, let's get back on the boat. And I said, I've already done a breather. Let me just do this one dive. So I went down, scaled down the reef, became negatively buoyant, and then just eased all the way down. Found myself at around 19.5 meters, and a fish presented itself to me. I shot it. I secured the spear and the fish, started kicking up, and looked at my computer. It said I was at 12 meters. And I remember thinking to myself, a little bit further to go. And then, I don't remember anything. The next thing, I'm being woken up on the boat, laying down on the deck, and coming awake from one of the best dreams I've ever had.
It's very hard to understand like that feeling, because like it came suddenly, right? Like it was not that you had like the urge to breathe and then it was there. It was just like boom, without transition, in that dreamy feeling. Yeah,
during freediving, you are always getting the urge to breathe, and you're always fighting the urge to try and stay down as long as you can. So the urge to breathe is always there, but I know what my body is capable of doing. The dive itself was 2 minutes, and I've done 2.5 minutes many times.
And like this feeling that you had there when you're saying like it was like a dream, can you describe somehow like how it felt, or what, like did you see like clear pictures, or was it all like more, I don't know, vague and blurry?
Yeah, I was kind of looking at myself from the third person. I was laying down on the reef. I was tracking the fish with the gun, and there was a lot of fish, more fish than what was on the reef. I remember feeling warm.
So then maybe schon like one step in heaven already.
Yeah, one foot in the door. Yeah, there was no need to breathe, and really lucid dream. No pain, nothing.
And the circumstances, like you have been with a buddy there?
Yeah, My buddy was directly above me because my shooting line, or the lanyard, was only 20 meters long, and I was down at 20 meters. So my float was right above me. My buddy saw that I shot the fish. He gave me the shaka, like, yeah. And he had a 30-meter long line, and he was pulling it in to his float. So he turned around when I was coming up, totally assumed that I would make it to the surface, like we always did.
Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't make it to the surface. My computer logged me up to 1 meter and then logged a second dive back down to 5 meters for another 20 seconds. So I was under the water for almost 2.5 minutes, which was normal for some of my longer breath holds. My buddy retrieved me, pulled me up, and on the surface he panicked. He forgot his training. He was a certified freediver. He should have pulled my mask off, he should have pulled my hood off, allowed the sensors in my face to realize that I'm not under the water anymore, to open up my trachea and release the mammalian reflex. But his first way of trying to get me out of the water was to try and climb up the rocks. It was very steep. I don't think you can even do that by yourself, let alone with someone else. And he was trying to call the boat. He didn't know if the boat could see us. The boat was quite far away, and that didn't help his panic. So yeah, finally the boat did see that assistance was needed. Maybe we had a fish or something.
Yeah.
And Marie was on the boat, and yeah, she wasn't prepared for what she saw. And as the boat approached us, I was still face down in the water.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Like if you think of like 2.5 minutes of a dive, then your second log dive back down, like after the shallow water blackout, going down to 5 meter-ish.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, like maybe, it's hard to tell, but maybe it's like 5-6 minutes without oxygen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a long time. You know, and I'm still here now, still talking with a funny accent. No long-term damage, fortunately. But yeah, I was face down in the water, blue, eyes rolled to the back. So Marie jumped into the water. Crew helped pull me up with the crew, got me onto the deck, and then removed my mask, removed the hood.
What normally should happen right in the water after the blackout.
Yeah, and you can come out of the blackout fairly quickly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just unfortunate. Doesn't matter because I am alive. But yeah, they did a few compressions on me because I still wasn't breathing. And yeah, and then I started choking out, foam, edema, and some water. And then yeah, I woke up from that beautiful dream.
It's crazy. Like that's one of this close to death experiences. I guess like there's one learning out of this situation.
Go get the training. You can never take away from face-to-face tuition with a freedive instructor. It's quite easy to just go onto YouTube and think you're learning, but having that one-to-one or in a class with a freedive instructor is it's priceless.
Yeah.
Your life almost depends on it.
Yeah, that's it. I think like to fix a bicycle or something with a YouTube tutorial, that's completely fine. But once like your life or other lives are basically...
Well, I'd say still go to the bike shop.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the old you then. No, but like whenever it's something that has to do with the ocean and like unpredictable things, then yeah, I think it's the most important thing, like to be there skilled and not alone, for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Never dive alone. It's too easy to dive alone as a spear fisherman because it's such a manly thing to do. It's you want to bring home the dinner. Yeah. And unfortunately, too many spear fishermen they go out by themselves and they never return. It shouldn't happen. It doesn't have to happen. For me, that whole experience it didn't really make me afraid of freediving, but it made everyone else afraid of me doing it again.
Yeah, you were not allowed in the water for a while?
Yeah, for some time. It took me a month before I was allowed to go scuba diving, and then maybe a month and a half later. But then since then I was only ever limiting myself to 10 meters and at the beginning I was only allowed to go down for 1 minute, and then I managed to make it to 1.5 minutes, and then I stopped at 1.5 minutes.
Yeah, and you said like when you were scuba diving the first time after that happened, like you had a weird feeling.
Yeah, it was amazing conditions. Yeah, visibility was amazing. The water was warm. I was doing my safety stop at the end of the dive, and I was just hovering over the reef, and it felt too good. So I wasn't sure if I was dreaming again.
Yeah.
I had to pinch myself a few times.
That's crazy.
It was painful. So yeah.
That's crazy. Like I guess you said before that you maybe wanna do a free dive instructor course or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna get the first level. I think I'm already past the first level, but I'll get to the second level. And yeah, I'm always looking for new challenges. So it would be nice to go down to 30 and 40 meters free diving, and with the correct training and with a good buddy team and assistance. Yeah, and enjoy holding my breath under the water. Since my accident, I also took up filming in-water surf photography, and that requires holding your breath a lot, getting pounded by each wave. But it's a lot of fun. Yeah. I still love holding my breath, and I don't think I'll ever stop.
So thanks for sharing that. I think that's super interesting for people, no matter if they're like ocean or dive related or not. If there's anything to say, like you said, you talked already about like diving here in Lombok, but I don't think a lot of people watch the video, but maybe if it addresses the right ones, then you can address something to them. Yeah,
come to Kuta, Lombok. We're 20 minutes away from the airport, and the diving's 1.5 hours away, and it's amazing diving. Beautiful reefs, lots of fish to see. Bring a camera. Yeah. Bring a spear gun.
Get certified before that.
Get certified.
Yeah. And yeah, Kuta is not only about surfing and good food. Yeah. It has some proper diving.
It's got everything. Yeah. Your one-stop holiday destination.
So thanks again for your time. And yeah, let's stay in touch. I'll be back when the speedboat is working. We do some more exploration diving here.
Yes, back to Manta Hari.